Hey, beautiful couples. Zane Wheeler here without my beautiful counterpart, Noelle Wheeler. She's at home. We were just discussing doing a live video together and kind of joining forces with her there and me here, but we haven't quite figured out the logistics of that technologically. So hopefully we'll get that going. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a live video for you guys again tomorrow morning. What I'd like to do today, though, is talk to you guys about communication, because there's a lot of talk of the sort of lack of communication that couples in this group in particular have in their relationships. And, I wanted to address that. What I wanted to do is talk a bit about my perspective on communication as a coach. Essentially, people communicate in three different ways. They communicate in a visual way, so they talk about what they see for their future. They really step into their lives from a visual perspective. They like to talk about, I see this for us, or I see this for you. And they're very sort of, visually oriented when they in their speech. There's also the auditory person, right? And this person talks a lot about energies, vibrations, frequencies. I'm one of those people, but I also fall into the third category, and we can span all three of these categories really. The third category, and the most coveted, I think, and the most hard to attain, I think, for a lot of people in relationships, is the kinesthetic, the feeling category, okay? And what we want to do is we want to recognize that, and particularly in our couples coaching program, when we see couples, we recognize that when there are a lot of sort of faults in the communication patterns between couples, it's either one or both members have trouble in the kinesthetic category, okay? What happens when we have trouble communicating is that we have trouble actually articulating our own feelings and being able to pull those up from us, be able to put them into words and be able to then convey those to our partner, okay? So when we have insecurities about our inability to convey our own emotions, it really tangles up the web of communication in our relationships, unfortunately. Now, if you guys recognize that, and if you resonate with that, go and give me a thumbs up or give me a comment in the comments bar there. And please drop your questions in here too, because I'm with you right now for the next 5-10 minutes or so to be able to answer any questions for you that you have. But if you notice in your relationship that you do get sort of held up around the idea of communicating your own emotions, that's generally the problem that a lot of couples face, okay? So my advice for people who do know that and do recognize that in themselves or in their partner, if it's in yourself and you notice, yeah, I don't know how to articulate my feelings, my best advice is just to try. My best advice is to really start the conversation by saying, to your partner, say, I really have trouble talking about my feelings, but I want to start to, because I know it will help our intimacy and communication. So what I need from you is to just hold space for me while I work my way through it, while I stumble through it, while I fall, while I put myself, out there vulnerably, so that you can sort of hold space for me while I do work through this in sort of a trial and error sort of way, so that you can catch me, okay? Because that builds intimacy. Now, I think one of the most vulnerable places we can reach as a couple is if we actually allow one side to hold space and the other side to stumble through that communication, to communicate or rather articulate their feelings in a viable way that gets, is able to convey them, right? That's a super intimate moment, right, for couples, is when they can actually take a moment to recognize that for one to hold space, to create that foundation of love and understanding so the other one can be vulnerable. That is, if that's not a good definition for intimacy, I don't know what is, right? So we're looking at this idea of people trying to learn to walk that path of becoming human, becoming fully actualized in understanding their emotions and understanding the emotions, which are the voice of the body. This is a personal, a very spiritual journey of self-discovery for people individually. But when it comes to couples, the other member of the couple can be a huge component in that person's self-discovery, right? So if you're walking your spiritual path and you have someone that is open to these ideas of helping you grow, which is, a recipe for a wonderful couple, is when both parties are sort of, stimulating that self-actualization in each other. Well, this vulnerability and this stumbling through being able to articulate emotions together is really what's going to help both parties grow, and really what's going to help that third dynamic that I like to talk about outside of the two members of the couple, the third dynamic is going to start to blossom because of this vulnerable space that you're both holding for each other. Okay. So it is very much a journey of individualization, a journey of self-discovery in a relationship. But if your partner is willing to hold space for you while you go through that, while you stumble, while you fall, while you become vulnerable, while you learn from your mistakes, then this is what's gonna create the biggest and most rewarding sense of intimacy in that third dynamic, which is the two of you combined. Okay, so pay attention to that third dynamic. What are you contributing to that third dynamic? Are you contributing your open-hearted, heartfelt ability to hold space for your partner while they are vulnerable, and vice versa? So if you're contributing that to the third dynamic, the dynamic that exists between the two of you, outside of the two of you, then I would really ask yourself those questions. Are you able to put those kinds of things in? Are you able to put that time into creating that third dynamic? So that's what I wanted to give you guys today. My next client is going to be here very soon, and I want to give my time to her. But if you have any questions before I go, please drop them in the comments bar right now, and I can see if I can grab any before I go. But it's been great to join you guys today. I don't have any questions yet. If you see this video and you decide you do have a question and you decide that you want to ask it to the group, throw it in the comments bar here, and we'd be happy to type something out for you. But again, I think we're going to do another live video tomorrow, so tune in for that in the morning. If we get it all together, we might be able to join you and see if we can do that for you guys tomorrow. But anyway, this group is going fantastically well. We have some new members. I want to welcome them personally, and I love you all. And please share, be vulnerable in the group. Write a post, talk about where your relationship's at, get as vulnerable as you'd like to go, as you'd like to be, rather, because we want to create a space for that kind of vulnerability again, because this is a relationship itself in this group too, a community, if you will, to be able to allow people to learn how to articulate their feelings as well. So we want that kind of space to be held for you guys as well. So let's all join in to create that dynamic for this group. Thank you guys.